Hi, intercompany invoicing flow, APAR IC, intercompany invoicing. We will talk about how to configure, what is the business case, and how to do, for example, practice to show the result, and the one step of our configurations. We will talk about approval, how to set up approval for IC between AP and AR. So let's start. In today's global economy, many companies are doing business around the world, locating subsidiaries, entities where they can get the best tax, manufacturing and distribution benefits. Trading between these entities for the provision of goods or services therefore needs to be accounted as intercompany activity. In many legal jurisdictions around the world, there is a requirement that invoices be generated with the appropriate tax for these intercompany transactions. So this is the concept of IC between AB and AR. For example, here you have two ledgers, USA ledger, UK ledger, legal entity, business units, operating units, or whatever, and for this ledger and for this ledger. To make any transactions, any intercompany transaction between this and this through intercompany invoicing. For example, here Chicago OBS is sells something to London OBS. Chicago under separate ledger, which is USA ledger, and the same time London is under different ledger, which is UK ledger. Oracle Fusion Intercompany can record intercompany transactions that interface to receivables and payables to generate and record invoices. The profit side of the transaction is recorded in receivables AR, where an invoice is generated, and the receiver side along with the receivables invoices information is recorded in payables AB. The component for the invoicing flow are create transaction as IC, approve transactions for these IC intercompany transactions, transfer to receivable first, import or run AR auto invoice, transfer then after you transferred successfully to receivables, transfer to payables, run AB import, record the accounting for the invoicing flow by completing the following steps: run AR create accounting, transfer AR invoice post in GL, complete AB invoice, run AB create accounting, and transfer again AB invoice post to GL. As you know that complete means check the approval, the tax, check fund, whatever, but IC invoice transactions is not under budgetary control, but for tax approval and so on. This is a concept or overview of what is the intercompany invoicing between AB and AR, what is the invoice flow from the beginning of creation of IC invoice until to post in GL. If we're talking about the setups, it's likely that several of prerequisite setups in other applications will already be done as a part of a financials implementations. As you see here for general ledger, we will check some checkboxes in ledger. We will check also legal entity, business unit, tax, that you will be configure tax for AR and AB, procurement, most supplier sites, the same in receivable customer sites. because if you're talking about invoice means in AB suppliers and supplier sites and the business unit and the tax, this business unit under this legal entity under this ledger. The same concept in AR. We will talk about AR. Invoice means customer sites, which is tax. What about the tax? What about the business unit? What about the business unit of AR under this legal entity? What about the legal entity under ledger? This sequence. Then the intercompany, because you will start the invoice or the transaction from intercompany. So also there are 3 or some prerequisites must be implemented in intercompany to complete the cycle. System options, transaction types, period status, intercompany organizations, customer supplier assignment, receivable assignment, intercompany balancing rules. Then BPM, which is business process management for intercompany approval rules, and SLA if you need to custom some intercompany TED transaction account definition. So let's start just to get into application to show you what I set up. First of all, just once you log in, go to setup and maintenance. If you remember the flow, we started by the ledger. So specify ledger option, select the scope your ledger, and there is one checkbox is enable intercompany accounting. So let me open Excel sheet. I just need to tell you that the flow of my business units. I have 2 business units, NWO, NWA, and the same I have ledger, NWO, NWA, and legal entity the same, and so on. This is ledger, this is business unit. So these business units will sell some product to NWA. So we will configure whatever the prerequisites configuration you will do here, you will do the same here. For example, specify ledger option, you in this ledger and this ledger. Business unit also for this business unit, whatever you will do it here, you will do it here. These cells means that one of them will be supplier, so the supplier and customer assignment. So you have also to prepare and associate the supplier and the customers, because one of them will create invoice in AB, the other will create invoice in AR, and so on. So for 2 ledgers you will set up, or you will prepare 2 ledgers for configuration. You will prepare also 2 business unit legal entities. You will also be suppliers and customer ready to create or importing the invoice, which is in AB and AR. So as you see here, this is the first one that is specify enable intercompany accounting, and again you have to change the scope to the other ledgers to allow the also intercompany invoicing for this ledger. If you come back here, that then the legal entity, this is the ledger options. A legal entity that you can define legal entities for the enterprise. This will be used in the intercompany setup when intercompany organizations are assigned to legal entities. It's just like to assign legal functions. Just navigate to define legal jurisdiction, just cancel and define legal jurisdiction. I think jurisdiction is wrong. Okay, I'll just remove the fine. Manage legal jurisdictions. Search for country, either our country, which is related to our to ledger and the legal entity. Just edit and add generate intercompany invoice as a legal functions. For the beginning, you can find here there is no any value attached, so you can come here to add generate intercompany invoice. This is the configure of legal functions. Then for the business units can be created, one with billing and revenue management business functions for the receivable business unit, and second with payable invoice business functions for the payables invoice or business unit. So during you assign the business functions for the business units, there are some checkboxes where is payable invoices, billing and revenue management. You have to enable these two checkboxes. If you notice here, this is the assigned business functions of the business units. You can assign the business functions payable invoicing checkbox and billing and revenue management. For the tax, you have to complete setup tax if you plan to use invoicing features and require taxes on the receivable and the payable invoice, because here we're talking about ICABAR invoice. So once the invoice is imported in AB and imported in AR, you can also generate or calculate tax. So in case of you need to calculate tax, so you have to complete the setup tax of the invoice for AR and AB. Then supplier and supplier sides, you have to create and assign legal entity as a part of the intercompany. When you create intercompany transactions for the provider organizations, supplier must exist in the receiver business units, and the receiver organization customers must exist in the provider's business units. You have to create supplier sites as in general without any specific configuration for IC. It's normal, because again there is one invoice will be created in AB, so it must, the supplier and supplier side must be set up and prepared to allow it to make also customer and the supplier associations. For the customers also we have to create customers, but for the create customers, first of thing you have to navigate. First of thing you have to set up the customers with internal customer type. This is as a primary bill to site. For example, if I need to check the customer here, before of that, just let me show you set assignment. Manage here. You will find what? You will find customer site account. You have to ensure that the reference dataset code enterprise and the reference dataset name is enterprise set. Don't assign specific reference data which is related to a specific business unit or blah blah blah. Again, ensure that it's enterprise. After that, for this manage business unit assignment, just go to the specific customers. There are some specific configurations you have to assign to these customers. Just I need to select manage customer either from here or from receivables. Just let me check the account. let me go to site. Okay, go to here, registry ID. You will find I think maybe it's a different customer. Yes, it's a different customer, just AM B2B. Just go to count. You will find that you must assign account type is internal. This is the first point. After that, just go to sites. You will find what the sites is bill to and account address set is enterprise set. This is related to our previous steps, that enterprise at customer site account. Without this setup at customer level, the invoice of AR will not generate it. And if the invoice of AR not generated, the same way AB invoice will not generate, because AB invoice will be completed and imported successfully once the AR transactions created successfully. This is what is about the customer and suppliers. Suppliers, there is no thing, it's like normal thing. Just now go to intercompany configuration. Intercompany configurations, again, there is no unique setup or like this. Just all, as you know, that intercompany system options, what is the numbering, minimum, currency, conversion rate, calendar, all of these things without any unique checkbox or whatever. Then intercompany transaction types. Just go to here, manage intercompany transaction types. You have to define intercompany transaction type to control if invoices should be generated for intercompany batches, and if manual approval will be required. You have to enable invoicing options to route intercompany transactions to receivables where invoices will be generated. The receivables invoices information will then be transferred and recorded in the payables applications. For example, as you see here, this is transaction type, provider and receiver, but I think not this one. Where is a manage intercompany transaction type? Manage intercompany transaction types. Just select the transactions and enable the invoicing, enable the approval and enable. This manual approval means that it will be go through workflow approval through your setup in BPM for approval. Invoicing means that it will be applicable for ICABAR invoice. This is for the intercompany transaction type. Intercompany period status. You have to ensure that the period is open because you will generate invoice. So, and also create IC as intercompany transactions. So it must be in open period. I think we have open period in September. So just what is open? We open yet September 2024. You have to either search by never opened or closed and click on open to open the period. And also you have to take care that for each transaction period type there is the same period. As you see here, September is repeated 1 to 3 because there are 3 transaction types in IC. So in case of you need to open September 2024, you have to select for which transaction type you need to open. In case of you need to open for 3, so you have to open it 3 times. It depends on the number of transaction types you configured in IC as an intercompany. This is the period status. What is next? Intercompany organization. Create intercompany organization and assign them to the legal entity. You can have one-to-one relationship between an intercompany organizations and the legal entity, or many-to-one relationship with many intercompany organization associated with a single legal entity. Select receivable business unit, payable business unit for each intercompany organizations if this organization will require invoices to be generated. For example, just select as you see here, organization, legal entity, what is a business unit, the same as enabled or not. The same way you will define for the other organization name or the other legal entity, because as per our flow we said that we have two legal entity, two ledger, two business unit, blah blah blah. So this is one, and again you have to configure for the other one. This is for manage intercompany organizations. Customer supplier assignment. Assign customer and the supplier to each legal entity that can be used in receivables and payables to generate and record invoices. Here just select our two legal entity. For this legal entity, what is the customers? This is which we configured before. What is the customer account? What is the supplier name also? And the same for the other legal entity. This is the customer supplier assignment, because again by the end we will find that there are two transactions will be generated, one in AB, one in AR. This needs suppliers and this need customers. This is customer suppliers. What is the next? That manage intercompany receivables assignment. These that assign receivable transaction types and receivables memo line to transaction type for given business units. With note that intercompany already has a default receivable transaction type intercompany and default receivables memo line as global intercompany that are used if there are no other matches. As you see again, business unit, what is the intercompany here for AR, what is the memo line. In case of you have a specific transaction type and the receivable memo line, you can come here and define it. Because of what? Because this is the transaction types will be generated in AR under this transaction type. What next? That manage intercompany balancing rule. Intercompany balancing rule. Create intercompany balancing rule that will be used to generate intercompany receivables or intercompany payables account for your transactions. Create a single rule per chart of accounts, or create more granular rules at the ledger, legal entity, primary balancing segment value level. As you see here, we have 4 levels: primary segment rule, legal entity, ledger, and chart of account. Here I assigned, or what I created for our chart of account. As you see here, I defined this in WA or NWO with what? With source none, category none, and the transaction type default. If you remember, we have 3 transaction type in my organization: default, IC, and I think sales. So when I come here, I assign what is the receivable account, what is the payable account for our first business unit or legal entity, with what? Source none, category none, transaction type, choose specific transaction type. The same way for what? For the other one, which is in WO, none, and select specific transaction types, which is under intercompany transaction types. Else you have to define primary balancing segment rule, ledger rules, and legal entity rules. Because of what? Because this is will be balancing the transactions once it's generated in AB and AR. The next step is invoice intercompany approval rule. intercompany approval rule, sorry, just go to work list to navigate to BPM. Just go to not open or what? Let me show all. Let me come back to again work list. Just go to administration and first of thing you can define a specific approval group. I already define a specific approval group which is MO approval, and I will put one level. You can put 2, 3, 4 level up to your requirements or your business configuration, business case, whatever. Then go to administrations or task configuration to start to configure the BPM for the intercompany invoicing. Just search by find fund transaction, then go let me put find fund sensitive case sensitive this find fund transactions approval. Go to assignment and start to go to rules to build your rules. To be honest with you, when I came here first time, I found one under name intercompany transaction approval rule. I come to here, go to properties, and I deleted. So once you found this default intercompany, your first step is delete. Then come here to add a new approval rule. I named IC approvals. I put first of thing, this is the properties, what is the name, what is the descriptions, okay, and I come here to put conditions. Conditions what? The receiver organization, the provider, whatever. Receiver organization, I put it the first one and add another conditions, or because I build or configure my intercompany between NWA and NWO. Right, so I tell the system that in after if under if conditions I put if receiver organization is this or this. Okay, you have a lot of conditions. You can put amount, you can put currency, you can open the list here and open enter your configurations. There are a lot of videos related to approvals. It's just open if conditions to check which attributes you will put under if condition. Then I select in list builder, I select approval group. I assign my approval group, which is MO approval. Allow empty groups is true. This will be default automatically, and this default also automatically. That's it. Just go to for the data and notifications, access. Here you will also don't forget to for early completion setting, you have to enable approve and reject. Approve and reject means for these approvals in the approval group, they can either approve or reject. That's it. Again, you will find one by default. Just disable, create your custom one, put your own conditions, which is conversion rate, provider organization, receiver organizations, whatever. Then select the list builder, which is better is approval group. After that, validate, save and close, and don't forget to commit the task. This is the task or approval of BPM. Is very straightforward. There is nothing. It depends on in which or under which conditions you will build your BPM approval. So let's come back to our so now we ledger, legal entity, receivables, business units, tax. It's by default if you configure tax, supplier side, customer side. We finished these receivables, status, transaction type, system options, and we configured BPM. Now the time of practice. Practice means that we will do one invoice between our two legal entity or our two business unit. Just go to intercompany accounting, go to transactions. So now what is the flow of these transactions? For example, we will create ICABAR between our two NWO to NWA. So one sells to the others. So after that you will find there are two transactions will be generated, one for AR and one for AB. After that, before of that, you have to approve the transactions. Depends on BPM approval group. After that, you will start to create this through what? Transfer transactions to AR. After it's completed, again you will do transfer transactions to AB for AB transactions. After that, you can complete the invoices in AR and AB. After that, you can transfer them to GL and posting. So now we will create AR ICABAR between our two business units, which is under two different legal entity, under two different ledgers. After that, it must go to for approval. Once approval, we will go to the approvals, which is under BPM approval group, to take the actions, which is will be approved. After that, we will come again to the IC to check the status and start to transfer transactions to ABAR, complete and the transfers. And also for each step you will find a different status for IC transactions. For everything it will be submitted, after that it will be completed, after that transferred to receivables, after that transferred to payables. Once you finished, it will be completed. So let's come back to Oracle. Just go to manage, create transactions. As I told you that the first is in WO. The period which I told you before, September 2024. So I will put 4 and the same for the accounting, which is GL date. What is the receivers? The other business units, which is in WA. It will be debited for 1989. Okay. Descriptions, attachments, it's up to you here. Also attachment at header, attachment at receiver and the provider. For the transaction distributions, just come back here. What is the account under this provider? Just I will select any random account and sub account, select the values of your segment values, and here the receiver will be debit. It means the provider will be credited, right? So again, I can also manage the account combination of the receivers. Else, once the receivers receive these transactions, he can select his own transaction account. Okay, so I will select it here. This is the receiver, it will be what? Debited. Okay, that's it. What is a provider, receiver, date, counting date, transaction type, which you included or mentioned in your prerequisites configurations, and this is the batch number 2015, receiver, accounting. After that, you will find here the balancing rules line will be generated automatically, depends on your intercompany balancing rule setup. That's it. Save. Try to save. Batch has been saved. Submit. Once you submit it, it must be submitted. Then go to, for example, manage inbound, put to the batch number. You will find what? It's submitted. Submitted means it must go to for approval. Just come back to here. Let me try to continue. Its status is sent. Okay, let me come just go to here, log out from this and log in by my name, because this is my email which is under the approval of the intercompany. Just come here and try to manage approvals. Okay, come back. Go to intercompany, and also don't forget one very important steps that give intercompany organization access for the approvals and who will create the transactions in IC in intercompany. For pending for others, you will find one which is our I just navigate to the intercompany and come here to manage approvals. Under manage approvals, you will find requiring my approval means who log in here. Is there any approval needs actions from his or from others? From others, this means it's already sent it to some different approvals, which is MO Salah. So now it must be after some time it will be sent to Muhammad Salah to take approve of this transaction amount. Until this notification sent to my name, which is under BPM approval group, just I go to here, and as you know, the data access set, manage data access set for users. As I told you, you have to assign data access set as intercompany organizations for who create the transactions, who approve also the transactions. For example, if I select my name, search, you will find what? Okay, intercompany organization. Again, enter. You will find that I give my name or my username access to our two legal entity business units, which is NWO, which is intercompany accounted rules, and security context in this case for intercompany organization is intercompany organization. This for all of the approvals. If you include a lot of approvals, a lot of persons, whatever, and also who will going to create AR, AB or IC transactions, either with invoice, without invoice, it must take access like the access for business unit and ledger and so on. Let me log out from here and check our batch, if I received or not. Let me again go to intercompany transactions, manage approvals, and pending my there is nothing. Let me navigate to Gmail. Yes, here I received the the transactions, so I can take approve or reject. Anyway, just I will click approve. Thanks. Send must be approved, but it must show here. Anyway, just I will log out from here and log in by who create the transactions and check the intercompany. Still not reflected, so just wait some time, maybe it will reflected here. Or you can navigate to the intercompany transactions to check the status. Manage outbound 2015. Still submitted, and here it's already approve. Sent it. Okay, cancel, done. So just refresh. Let me log out from here. Okay, approval, show all. This is 2 months ago, so come back to intercompany transactions. This, as you see here, requiring attention, is approved. Maybe it must come here to showing here as a pop-up notifications to take actions, but anyway, I received that email and I approve it. So I will log out from here. It's now status is approved, because first of status is submitted. Here it must be come here as a notification 1 minute ago. One inbound approvals 2015, which is our is approved. So just navigate to the intercompany transactions, and here the status is approved. This is the first step that you have to submit it, then take action, either approve or rejects. I think there are also request more informations. For example, you forget to attach a specific document, blah blah blah. So in case of you navigate to the manage intercompany transactions 2015, click, its status is approved. And as you notice here, intercompany balancing rule is generated, depends on your intercompany balancing rule configurations for a provider and for receivers to make a balance for each line. That's it. What is the next step once it's approved? Just to go to make first of thing transfer to AR receivables. Once it's complete successfully, transfer to payable. Just transfer to receivables. In business units, receivables means the first providers who sells to the others. So in Wood, you can specific also legal entity, accounting date, from to, and so on. Run import, yes or no. If you select no, so once this is completed successfully, you have to run this manually from AR. If yes, so the system will create as a sub process of transfer intercompany transaction to receivables. Submit, wait the status, just navigate to monitor process. Monitor process. Just refresh until it's succeeded, or warning or error. After that, it will give you or generate a sub-process report to show you the transaction, either it's created or not created. One of the problem here is that you during you set up or configure the intercompany transaction types, you enabled the invoicing and the manual approvals, but you didn't complete the BPM. So you have to complete BPM approvals if you select manually approval. Without that, it will be stuck and you will find the status of the batch will be changed to error without any error description. As you see here, because we select import auto invoice, yes, it's now is running. Receivables also using into auto invoice. And don't forget also to complete the transaction types in AR to check the receivables, the revenue, it's open, not active, not active, and so on. Like any transaction type you configured for AR. As you see here, all of them is succeeded. Now we will check the auto invoice execution report to check the invoice. Is it created or not? Once this created successfully, you can go to the next step to transfer invoices or transactions to EB. Without this, you cannot continue the flow or invoicing flow. Running. So let me try to download this. It's null. Start open. You will find that selected to invoice interface line 1. Just go to down. You will find our invoice is created, invoice currency amount, and everything is completed. What is the invoice number? Number of transaction 1. Anyway, if there is no number, anyway, it's completed successfully. So I will navigate to NW receivables to check our transactions. Billing, just search by manage transactions. You can find source as global intercompany. Search. You will find this one, right? It's created here. You can complete as sales invoice from the first business unit legal entities. So you can check by the tax, edit, submit, and so on. After that, just navigate or come back to our IC patch to complete the other cycles, which is transfer transactions to payables. But before of that, just I need to show you the status. Here's the status what of our batch sent to receivables. So the first status is submitted. After that, approved. Once you transfer it to receivables, you will find here the status is sent to receivables. Now I will send it to payables. Payables for what? For the other legal entity or operating unit. So here in WA, again in WA, and you can specify the same, import yes or no, submit, again refresh, navigate to the monitor process and check the status. Once it's also completed, you will find one report to show you that the invoice is created or not, to still to work. One of issues I faced, to be honest with you, that I enabled the invoicing or manual approval for the IT transaction types without configure the BPM approval. Once I create IC patch, I found the status is error without any descriptions. In this case, you have to complete BPM approval for intercompany invoicing transaction. As you see here again, another report for payables invoice report. And I think it will also give you execution report to show you the invoice is created or not. Let me also check the output. Is it created or not? Start download, open. Here also there is one invoice number. This is created for our suppliers, which is our supplier associations, and the other for our customer association. Just navigate to NWA payables to search for the invoice. Here 1989, this is the same number, again you can and source global intercompany. Then you can continue approval, tax, attachment, check fund or whatever, and so on. So now just navigate to our intercompany transactions. Just navigate to 2015. The status is complete. Complete means submitted, approved, send it to receivables, send it to payables. After that, you can go to payables, receivables, complete your transactions, transfer them to GL, and post it in GL. If you also check the account payables, just accounting, just go to payables, invoices. This is our invoice. You will find whatever the amount or account we put it there, it's also coming here, and here the same, and for the others in AR transactions. This is the invoicing. I see invoicing ABAR transactions flow. Don't forget to set up configurations, complete configurations first. Don't forget any step, then try to start. To be honest with you, it will not work with you from the first time. From time to time you have to come back to check the setup and so on until it will be completed successfully with you. Thanks for watching. Good luck.